everybody. At this time, I would like to ask all of our guests to please silence their cell phones and find their way to their seats. And please keep the aisles clear. You don't have to leave your seats to take photos or video because everything is being taken care of. We will distribute those for you, photos and video. Parents, if you'd like to rise, see the graduates as they walk in. Students, you may be seated. Wow, what a group. Welcome, parents, graduates, teachers, and other members of the KIS community. This is a very special day for two reasons. First and foremost, we are here at this ceremony to witness the transition of these students seated on either side of me from their childhood days to the next stage of their lives, whatever that might be. Speaking on behalf of the secondary teachers, we are honored to have played a role in preparing these graduates for that next step. The second reason for this being a special day is that it marks the very first day this year that parents have been permitted on campus. So it is so wonderful to see you here. In a year fraught with lost opportunities due to COVID, I am pleased that parents are able to witness their children passing the important milestone of high school graduation here today in a live ceremony on this very lovely day. Again, welcome all to the KIS Graduation 2021. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Luke Woodruff, Director of the school, for some opening remarks. Ms. Woodruff.
Well, you look good. You look really good. I'm glad we had such a beautiful day. I'm not going to lie. This past week I've felt very, very nervous for a number of reasons. But one of those reasons was the weather. So I feel like we've been very, very lucky. And I feel like we deserve it. We deserve some good weather today. First, I would like to just thank Mrs. Reck, Mr. Legan, Miss Mariana, and the grad committee for organizing this ceremony. You've done an amazing job. It looks incredible. I'd like to join in what Mr. Legan just said in welcoming the parents here today. It is very nice to have you on our campus. It has been a very long year without you on our campus, but we're glad that you could join us today here at KIS, and anyone joining us from anywhere around the world via live stream. So, yesterday, I was preparing for a volleyball game, and Georgia walks up to me, and she says, you know, the first year that you were here, you gave a grad speech, and you talked about golf. And I thought, well, how amazing. Like, that's so nice that you remembered that I talked about golf. And in the time, I was thinking about how great it was that she remembered what I talked about. She said, yeah, nobody really understood what you were talking about that day. So I just wanted to say, maybe she was trying to communicate to me that I just needed to be quick, to the point, and clear. But today I'm not going to talk about golf. I've decided to talk about baseball. So the past few days I've been watching students out on the field playing softball, baseball. And yesterday as I was watching them set up for graduation and then play baseball at the same time, I couldn't help but think about some similarities. Mr. Crane, giving me a little poke, said, do they even play baseball in Canada? You know, summers aren't so warm. Well, we do play baseball in Canada, and I grew up playing baseball. And so I thought about a few things I heard growing up about baseball. I want to share some of these baseball-isms with you today, because I think they relate. Number one, step up to the plate. You're going to have a lot of opportunities in life. When it's your turn to take responsibility, whatever it might be, however many times you make mistakes, never stop stepping up to the plate. Show up, step up, and own up. Number two, keep your eye on the ball. Focus, maintain focus. From the very beginning to the very end. Explore the why in the things that you do and find as much meaning as possible. Number three, swing for the fences. So in here it's sometimes a building, but this means to just go for it. Do whatever you decide and do it with full effort. Put all of your heart into it. If you strike out, don't stop swinging. Swing big. Build confidence and momentum with each swing you take, and swing for the fences. Number four, touch base. This is all about contact. I hope you stay in contact with each other, but Beyond that, I'm thinking of something different. So in baseball, you have to touch each base as you go along, and you can't miss a base. If you do miss a base, you have to go back and make sure you touch it. This is to say, don't cut corners. Don't try to cheat the game. Be ethical, be honest, be true to yourself, your work, and those around you. Be patient for the good stuff. It comes. Touch all the bases as you head around third and on to the last one I would like to share today. Number 5, home plate. Well, this isn't so much a saying as it's where you started. So for the sake of getting an idea of where you started here, I just want to ask you to stand for a moment and then sit back down after I've mentioned something. So I would like, if you started at KIS during high school, to just stand up for a moment. Who started with KIS during their high school years? Thank you. Okay, have a seat. Who joined KIS during their middle school years? Anybody? Thank you. Anyone who joined KIS during their elementary years? And anybody during preschool? No matter how long you've been here, I hope that KIS has felt like home and a place where you belong. A piece of us always seems to be missing when graduates leave, but we hope that you also take a piece of KIS with you, and it makes you a better person. We hope that you felt home here, and know that you are always welcome at this place. You just have to check in at security. Okay, so Georgia, did the baseball one work? Does it make sense? Maybe? No? All right. Parents, I hope today is filled with happiness and pride. You should be proud. Thank you for all the support and understanding. It has been a very interesting last year for your children. Teachers, thank you for all of your hard work and dedication. In August, I honestly did not know where we would be today. It was hard to imagine that this day would come. Being a good teacher means a lot of different things, and you have risen to the occasion this year to make things work. Graduates, thank you for showing up this year and also navigating a difficult senior year. I know you've missed out on a lot of things. The other night, the Denver Nuggets beat the Portland Trail Blazers, and the coach said that one of the comments that the coach made in the post-conference press was, "We weren't trying to weather the storm. We were trying to be the storm." I encourage you to be the storm. Be leaders. Serve. Be examples to those around you. Thank you for sharing your journey with us. On behalf of Kyiv International School, I want to say congratulations. Today is all about you, and I hope you enjoy it. We wish you all the best. Please welcome Mr. Dustin Byers, a secondary cultural studies teacher voted by the class of 2021 to give the commencement address for this year's ceremony. Mr. Byers has worked at KIS for the past 3 years. Mr. Byers.
Thank you, Mr. Woodruff. Thank you, Kyiv International School. Congratulations, and thank you, class of 2021, for the honor to speak today. During the 1950s and 60s, the United States and the Soviet Union battled it out in a technological Cold War to achieve dominance and superiority over space. One of the earliest and unassuming challenges both nations quickly realized was that traditional gravity-fed pins didn't function in a zero-gravity environment. NASA and the US government invested millions of dollars and thousands of man-hours into research and eventual development of a zero-gravity pin that would work in space. It was a celebrated example of good old American know-how, hard work, problem-solving, and superiority of the mighty US dollar. How did the scientists over in the Soviet Union solve this problem? They just used the pencil. Many of you have probably heard this story before, and all of us have certainly grasped the humorous anecdote that so cleverly contrasts the deep-rooted and cultural and intellectual differences between the proud people of the United States and the former Soviet Union. Like all good graduation commencement speakers, I am providing you, the audience, with a witty and humorous story about a historical event that perfectly introduces some clever crafted piece of wisdom that will be bestowed upon you by the end of this long and meandering speech. But I do not tell this story to highlight the humorous differences between the East and the West, nor am I establishing a rhetorical foundation to discuss the over-engineered solutions to simple problems. My IB theory of knowledge students know me all too well, and I would never start your final lesson of high school with something, shall I say, simple. I tell the story of the zero-gravity pen, but for this one and very important reason. The story of the US-Soviet pen and pencil is unequivocally and absolutely false. It's not true, it's a lie, it's made up, it's hogwash, it's pure fiction. In the famous words of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, don't always believe everything you read on the internet. The zero-gravity pen was actually developed by the independent inventor Paul C. Fisher with his own money and zero money from NASA. In the early days, both the Soviets and the Americans used some form of a pencil in their space program. By 1968, both nations had switched to Fisher's pens at a discount of 40%, resulting in a cost of only $2.39 per pen. Right now, Melis and Loanne are certainly staring at me with blank, somewhat aggravated looks of frustration. Anatoly is thinking to himself, to what extent is it ethical for Mr. Byers to make us sit through yet another confusing and ridiculous lesson on thinking? And Helena is certainly about to scream out, please, Mr. Byers, I'm just too tired for this, you're making my brain hurt. I want to draw your attention for a few moments to the stunning and often underappreciated fact that these students are about to graduate from childhood and officially join the ranks of full-fledged tax-paying adults. They have all survived roughly 12 years of what we as society call, quote, education. For all of the adults here today, myself included, we often take this rite of passage for granted, given the years gone by and the blurring of memory due to the passing of time. Most of us probably don't fully appreciate the absolutely mind-numbing insanity of the whole modern high school experience played out in schools across the world every single day. Walk with me for a moment on this imaginary journey through high school, and I think you'll begin to understand what I mean. Hello, welcome to KIS. We are part of QSI and certified by MSA. If you want to play sports, we are a member of Central Eastern European Schools Association. We just call it CESA for short. Don't forget to pay your fees at the main office in the main building, not the front desk of that building. But you can only go there during the 10-minute passing period on the third day of the second week of the fourth month. Just walk 2 kilometers to the building across the field, third door on your right, but not the second. You're not allowed to go in there. Go up the stairs, down the stairs, 10 steps along the hallway, turn around, go back to where you just came from, jump up and down 3 times, say enter in Ukrainian, Russian, German, and English, but not too loud, there's elementary students. Slay the dragon at the end of the dungeon under the lower level, click your shoes 3 times together, make a wish, and hope to God you don't end up in Narnia. You should probably take a map test. No, it has nothing to do with geography. You are a secondary 1 now, also called freshmen. There are older students called sec 2s, 3s, and 4s. They're also called sophomores, juniors, and seniors. We use mastery learning. Your grades will be A, B, P, H, or D. At one point, you should probably take the pre-SAT, which is just a fake version of the actual SAT, which you probably need for college, also called university. What do you want to study? What do you want to do for a career? You don't know already? Moodle, Teams, Office 365, Google, Sway, Zoom, Quizlet, Kahoot, Maya Learning, IB, AP, DBQ, FRQ, TOK, CAS, Block Schedule, Online Schedule, Red Day, Black Day, A Cohort, B Cohort, Kozak 30, Safety Net, assignments, tests, activities, and exams. 3 hours of afternoon school activities, 10 hours of nearly assigned homework, all in 8 classes, due tomorrow. Just check your inbox, 1,000 unread emails. Click the link to the shared document in the group folder under Unit 7, TSW 2.3-A, marked on the PowerPoint under the sway. Open the video, which will take you to the form. Please answer the main prompt and the 17 sub-questions. It'll just take 5 minutes of your time. Are you guys getting this? Then there's the dreaded question of should you take IB or AP? For a young teenager, it might as well be a life and death decision. One misstep and your future will be ruined forever. It's like the scene from The Matrix when Morpheus asks Neo if he wants to take the red pill or the blue pill. From an outside perspective, this whole thing probably feels like some demented Dr. Seuss book co-written by Edgar Allan Poe. But this is just a sliver of what every single high school student around the world has to deal with on a daily basis. This has become modern education. This is what every single one of these graduates sitting here today successfully negotiated for the last 4 years of their life. And by God, that feat alone is commendable and worth celebrating. But I digress. Where were we? Yes, Abraham Lincoln and space pins. For those who have taken my AP Human Geography class, you will certainly remember Robert Thomas Malthus. Malthus was a controversial 18th century English scholar and economist. He observed the growing population of England. He theorized and predicted that exponential population growth over time would inevitably outpace the slower linear growth of food production. The society would hit a point of catastrophe resulting in famine, mass starvation, war, death, and population die-off. This is commonly known as a Malthusian trap. Humans are doomed to live a constant existence within a positive feedback loop of decay and never-ending dance of environmental determinism. But like the story of the zero-gravity pin, the Malthusian trap was in the end, without question, utterly false. Malthus's prediction of population apocalypse never happened. The Malthusian trap was no trap at all, but rather an example of what Canadian psychologist Jordan Peterson calls low-resolution thinking. Low-resolution thinking is when we take complex problems and simplify them down into uncomplicated, easy solutions. It's assuming that one solution won't mistakenly lead to 100 more problems. It's lazy intellectualism. A simple example of low-resolution thinking is traffic in a city. My AP Geography students can confirm that no other teacher gets as excited as me when Paramogi is bumper-to-bumper red on Google Maps. How do you solve traffic congestion in a city? Easy, right? Just build more roads. This would be low-resolution thinking. Simplifying a complex problem in search of a simple solution. In reality, the law of induced demand leads to even more traffic. In other words, the more roads you build, the more people are incentivized to drive cars, and the more traffic you'll end up with. Misunderstanding the causes of problems often leads to lazy solutions, which in turn often leads to more problems. We humans are really good at this. This common way of thinking is not surprising, given our overbearing need to understand everything in simple terms. We like to know the answers to the unknown, and often when the unknown is infinitely complex, we attempt to dumb it down into bite-sized morsels of understanding that we can chew on while we're surfing Instagram and YouTube. We are the species that fears what we do not know. This is both a blessing and a curse, and do not take this lightly. On the one hand, our search for answers spurs on scientific discoveries, the invention of penicillin, the eradication of smallpox, humans landing on the moon, capturing the power of the sun and solar panels, and the creation of the internet. On the other hand, the desire for easy answers too often leads to oversimplified conclusions and poorly thought out solutions, such as the disastrous one-child policy in China, or the Great Dust Bowl of the 1930s in America, poisonous plastic in our oceans, our food, and our drinking water. The unimaginable level of death and human suffering during the 20th century at the hands of murderous politicians like Hitler, Mao, and Stalin stand as a dark warning to any future generation who chooses to follow vague, oversimplified promises to solve all of society's problems and make the country great again. Low-resolution thinking can have catastrophic consequences. The Malthusian trap was an alarmist call to action based on faulty information, an oversimplification of a complex system. Thomas Malthus misunderstood and outright ignored one massive piece of the population puzzle: technology. He did not take into consideration the onset of the Industrial Revolution, the speed and complexity at which human society would prosper, and most importantly, adapt to their environment. Most people have probably never heard of the American agronomist Norman Borlaug. Borlaug is single-handedly one of the most underrated and little-known heroes of the human species. He's considered the father of the Green Revolution, an explosion of food production capabilities in countries across the world during the 1960s. He developed high-yield, disease-resistant wheat varieties, as well as new innovative farming techniques, particularly from Mexico, Pakistan, and India. His discoveries greatly increased the agricultural output of these countries and avoided unimaginable catastrophic human suffering due to food insecurity. He was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize in 1970. His work is credited today with having saved hundreds of millions of people from death as a result of starvation. Beware of Malthusian traps and low-resolution thinking. Beware of people who promise short-term simple solutions to complex problems. Beware of alarmists who profess gloom and doom and a twisted, warped perspective of reality. Beware of expedience. Anyone who tells you they know what things will be like in 10 years is either delusional, a liar, or both. One fact is certain, and only thing consistent about the future is that it's consistently changing. Life is a wild happenstance interaction between millions of moving pieces reacting in countless unpredictable ways. Don't fall into the Malthusian trap of thinking you know what your future will be. Don't rely on